Everyone. I hope you guys will enjoy our presentation. And now we will present about our group assignment. So, as we know, the framework that we use to do for the Sime Darby SBU is the Porter 5 and also the BCG. So I will uh, present about the industrial for Sime Darby. And the first question is, what would the core competency of Sime Darby Industrial SBU? And so, what we get from industrial is their core competency for industrial is they are the third largest caterpillar dealers, and with more than 110 branches in 15 countries. The countries is only in Asia. They didn't have any branches outside Asia. And based on their annual report for 2018, Australia and China seems give a lot more income for the industrial. And also why the core competency in the industrial is because Sime Darby they involved in this industrial for a long time, so maybe the seller they trust Sime Darby as the dealer for the caterpillar, and this can become one of their core competency. And now we proceed to the Michael Porter 5 force. Okay, the first one is low rivalry among competitors. Okay, Sime Darby may face competition from other dealers around the world, even though they only have branches in Asia, but they still can be the third largest dealers that show that they can compete in the industry. And maybe the new company that try to come into the business around Asia, maybe they have difficulty to compete with the Sime Darby. And high rate of new entrants. Okay, high rate of new entrants, barrier to entry. Barrier to entry with the more than 110 branches in 50 countries around the ASEAN Pacific. It would be difficult for the companies to enter this marketplace around the Asia only, and it will secure the strong foundation for the Sime Darby. Time and cost to entry. As the oldest caterpillar dealership in Asia since 1929, the customer might have more trust and good relationship with Sime Darby. Plus, Sime Darby may have more experience in this market, so they know what they need to do to compete with the other competitors. And after that, the low rate of substitute. Based on the annual report 2018, we can see that if I'm not mistaken, Australia, the upstake in mining and construction, also in China, it gives more demands for the heavy machine, so that makes Sime Darby can uh, improve their sales as a dealer for the Caterpillar. And also, therefore, Sime Darby need to maintain their performance and from time to time upgrade the dealer service to make sure they keep improve, and maybe in the future they can maybe become the first largest dealer, not only the third largest. And after that, number 4, low and high bargaining power of supply. So Sime Darby might not have any problem for the heavy machine supply because Caterpillar is also one of the successful company in produce the heavy machine. So it will not be a problem for Sime Darby if they need the machine in the quick time or anytime they need, they can get the supply. Other than that, Sime Darby not only supply for the Caterpillar, they also supply other brand of heavy machine like New Holland, Turbo and Perkins. And this machine is used in the, how to say in English, in the industry perkapalan. Okay. And then the last one, high bargaining power of buyer. As we see, as we know that the upstick in mining, construction, oil, gas, and agriculture industry, all of the industry, it seems that the demand for the heavy machine is always there. So it gives opportunities for the Sime Darby to always sell the machine, and they can maintain and improve their profit through this industry as a dealer. And then we go for the BCG. Okay. So from our discussion, we might say that the industry are located as a cash cow based on their 2018 annual report. Most of the profit are gained from industrial service, especially from the mining industry in Australia and China. And we think the cash generated from this service should be invested to the healthcare service because the healthcare is one of the Sime Darby SBU, and they in process to be. So from help from the industrial can help the healthcare to improve. Besides that, Sime Darby experienced around 20 years in this service. Maybe the industrial also can be a star for this corporation. Okay, that's for me. I pass to Bobby.
Next is the plantation. So what would be the core competencies of Sime Darby's plantation strategic business unit? So the core competencies of Sime Darby's plantation strategic business unit is the practices, environmental friendly operation and sustainable plantation process, and focus on waste to wealth program whereby the mill waste is turned into organic fertilizers. The strategic and the plan, they use a systematic system to manage the plantation wider. A joint cooperation with local government and universities has been done to give on the benefits of the palm oil, and the marketing has identified for acquisition and joint venture with small millers and estate owners that palm oil can be cultivated in idle land or designated agriculture land after taking into consideration of future market condition. The head of the business unit will doing ongoing R&D with local and international government The firm also designed SOP for decision-making process, and the main criteria will be turnaround time of the decision to be made. So using the Michael Porter 5 forces, we could make a judgment on the performance of the business unit. For the first is the high rivalry among competitors. The market size is limited due to the geographical location, but this is not the limit the market player. So the market is quite challenging and still with fellow giant public listed companies. So even though Sime Darby seems to be the leading competitors, but the market followers are also close behind. Besides major players, there are many individual estate owners in the market. These estate or land are of inheritance, and the current owners either cultivate the palm oil or leases the land for palm oil cultivation. Although these minor players do not pose huge threat, they are potential ways of increasing market share and raw material by acquiring the land. Next is low threat of new entrants. The threat of new entrants is fairly low, as startup capital for a palm oil plantation or palm oil processing mill is very high. For a firm to enter a market, registering an entity in a local country, the organization will need to obtain a series of approval and on-site inspection to ensure the organization follow the regulation of health, safety, and environment. The regulation is also subject to the individual country that the organization wishes to operate. Next, high threat of substitute. The threat substitute is high for palm oil, as for now, almost 90% of the palm oil used for edible use such as oil, fats, and shortening. Though palm oils yield 4 times reduction compared to closest yield, which is rapeseed, there are many substitutes in the market such as soybean oil, sunflower oil, corn oil, peanut oil, and olive oil. Among the substitute products, olive oils possess the highest threat as it is recognized as the healthiest of all and the best of all edible oil. Next, low bargaining power of buyers. As the demand of palm oil increases and the price being predetermined, the buyer does not have much bargaining power to demand for lower price. The major buyers are from European Union, China, and India, and with little control over price, the bargaining power of buyers is low. Next, low bargaining power of supplier. The raw material needs to be for the cultivation are high quality seeds, land, and fertilizers. Seeds for the plantation could be taken from the current plantation, and land for cultivation is available in Borneo. However, there are certain issues on land ownerships. And finally, good quality fertilizer that be produced by the SDP itself, with seeds and fertilizer being produced by the Sime Darby and only bought from supplier at rare occasions of shortage. The bargaining power of supplier here is low. Most players in the market are involved in the both upstream and downstream activity and grow their own seedling in their nurseries. Okay, next is the growth share metric. The end of the products by the Sime Darby plantation are crude palm oil, palm kernel oil, and biodiesel. Both crude palm oil and palm kernel oil occupies the rising star quadrant as they generate the highest amount of profit and also has a huge potential growth. As SDP will have to invest in the quadrant to grow the market share in the business. Example of the investment is acquisition and purchasing of new and existing plantation and diversification of product offering. The biodiesel is placed in the question mark quadrant as the demand for biodiesel is still low and a huge investment is needed to grow the demand and invoke market awareness. Biodiesel is made from palm oil which grown on sustainable agriculture land by responsible and established plantation can effectively reduce greenhouse gas emission.
And the next is the hot cake in Sime